Jambo. Tonui. Nataka kuona Tonui. So I want to check whether we are going live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live show where we are going to be talking to Kenya's greatest, Kenya's most amazing photographers, and people who actually understand the photography business. And in our panel, we have got Lucy Favier, we've got Dowdy Maneki, and soon to join us, David Masharya. So just to give a little bit of bio about the people who are going to be talking to, we have Lucy Favier, who is the lead photographer and founder of Favier Production, and her niche is in corporate headshots and humanitarian photography. She has been at it since 2014. 2014, after studying media and aging of towards still photography in 2012. Lucy is captivated by the culture and people she meets, especially in documentary photography and humanitarian work. Other than her country, Kenya, she has also undertaken various projects in Uganda, Tanzania, wa majirani yetu hapa chini, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Mozambique, and South Korea. And we have got Dowdy Maneki himself, the millionaire. Dowdy is a self-taught photographer. He has documented different stories and incredible campaigns. And I think the things that he does right now is that he photographs for business and also political leaders. Today, he uses the power of photography, video, and design to transform businesses and help brands develop an enthusiastic personality so that they can attract their ideal customers. So that is the sitting panelists that we have for now. And I see David has joined us, so let me read his bio while he's still here. So David Masharya is the CEO and founder of Versatile Photographers, one of the leading photo and video content creation brands in Kenya. He is also the author of Asili Yetu, a photographic narration and compilation of images that David has put together in a book that presents the history and heritage of Kenya and Africa. David is also the brainchild behind Photography in the World through Versatile Adventures, an exploration journey to travel, capture wildlife, and to tell stories of culture and conservation in Kenya and beyond. And if you don't know, David was among the people or the champions who actually did, who made Chalbi Desert be what it is today and a place for people to visit. So that is our panelists. And welcome everybody. Lucy, welcome Maneki, and welcome David.
Thank you.
Asante sana. Very heavy introduction. Leo tuko na wazito. Masharya.
The people, I'm even shocked that Masharya is still in town.
I'm telling you.
Unmute, Masharya, please unmute your mic. David, Masharya, Versatile, unmute.
Yes. Oh.
Unmute. Yes, can hear you.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't have my video on is because I'm on the road.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, I was saying, I just came from the site this morning, just to attend this session because we didn't have enough internet out there. So I decided let me just travel. Anyway, thank you so much. I can see my colleague there to T. Niaje, kijana, hey, msichana, bado huko. How are you?
Of course. I'm okay.
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you too.
Ah, great. Is the meeting started yet, or is it?
Yes, the meeting it has started. Yes, it has.
Okay.
Yes, the meeting has already started, if I'm not wrong. Let me just counter check, but
Yes,
we are on.
yes.
Yes. Okay. So I don't know, maybe just Lucy, you can just say hi to us and to everybody else around.
Okay, hi. I'm so happy to be part of this panel and photography as we celebrate World Photography Week, where people started becoming more active in creating images for making a difference. So I'm Lucy. I am happy to be part of the female photographers getting into this space, dominating part of this space among other people, and I look forward to a great session. Asante.
Maneki, you can say hi to us.
Hello, hello. Thank you to have me around. What a privilege. We definitely are excited to be contributing to this conversation about the dynamics of the photography business today. Thank you, PK, for the good job you're doing, making sure that you're beating the DU so that the path that the young guys following us can follow. People who grew up in the village knew, how to beat the DU out of, to create a path. So that's what you're doing here. Thank you so much, Patrick Diba. Good job. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Now, David Masharya himself, you can probably just greet us and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is David Masharya. I am a photographer, and I do different types of photography. I think, let me say, I'm a cocktail of different types of photography. Currently, I'm focusing on the language photography. I started with weddings. I do a lot of portraits and a lot of commercial. The reason why I don't change is because I became a creative. I was a photographer, but I became a creative in a way. I create content and I consult other people how best they can actually position content to photography business. Photography business is not a basic need. Yeah, if you're given food, health, and photography would be the last option because most of the business, the way we do business, we deal with people with disposable income. In case someone is getting married, you make sure you have eaten, make sure you are good, you have something extra, you want to get married, actually you want to do a wedding, yeah, especially for wedding photographers. And again, if you want to go for a photo shoot or any event, you must have an extra money, and that's where we get most of our revenue. So when the COVID hit us, I think we are the most people who are hit because most of us, especially people doing events, all the normal events, and you can imagine most of us, the way photography is, there are those photographers who only focuses only on events, and it was very hard for them to cope with the new situation. And another challenge that we got is like it is not something that we were prepared. We were not prepared with this. Yeah, we were not prepared with this pandemic, and unfortunately, there was no cash flow. There was no money. Yeah, there was no money in the industry. So there's no way. The way everybody could use to survive, things totally changed, and we had to look for a way of survival. Because definitely, as a creative, you have to eat. Yeah, you have to eat. You need to live. You need to continue your lifestyle. Unfortunately, there was where you used to get the income is no longer coming. There was no more events. Like for me, I remember, I have a school where we had to close down the school because there's no way we could actually have students together. And now inventing that online system, it was a bit challenging. Then again, we had to close some of, we have 2 studios where we had to close them and we have to wait to see how things work. So it is one of the things that really hit us, especially me and my team. And us that we are quite a big team. So it was a huge challenge, but we try, even today, we are still trying to reinvent the new way we can actually be able to do
pictures or photos. You must have food on your table, and you have to be able to provide education for your kids by the time you have money to give to us for your pictures. But then I noticed that the one thing that maybe allowed me to be able to have business is from all the foundation you've done all along, and now being able to acknowledge that there is no kidogo money. So that person who maybe you're used to already doing big weddings, when that family person says, I just have 5,000 to do pictures with you, will you say, no, I'm only doing corporate or I'm only doing this? So I think now I came to understand the beauty of now those smaller, what do you call smaller clients, or even now smaller packages. And I think now when now that one was able to know, I feel like everybody was in their house. You're looking at your walls and you're thinking, I'm empty, I don't have anything. So at that point, maybe there are a lot of people who are willing to do family photos, but then you would only be able to tap into that if you had been doing the work before, the groundwork before the COVID. Because if you had never done any groundwork to try and establish clients or to build friendships with your clients, at that point, they wouldn't be able to check up on you. I have friends who would call and clients' friends who would call and ask, are you okay? How is business? Is it affected? And then I would, based on how the conversation is going, they'd be like, actually, I think I'm willing to do pictures. And at that point, I'm here thinking, is this person doing pictures because they believe in us as creatives that they want to give us business? Or is it a need basis? Because I honestly feel like photos sometimes are not need basis. So it's your clients intentionally choosing to give you business, and what kind of groundwork have you done to build relationships with your clients for them to be able to know, you know what, I want to call Dowdy Millionaire. How is he able to pay his rent? You know what if I can give him this gig for this hotel, I advertise and take more pictures for my advertising for business. Now mepata salary to be able to pay for his kids' school fees. I am happy to do it. So I feel like I just came to understand the loyalty of my customers during this time, because I realized they were dedicated at being able to still make sure that I stayed afloat. So I think for me, I'm happy that the groundwork from Kitambo, when I was just being friends with them and making sure, hi guys, are you okay? That is what I think maybe paid off. So I'm really grateful for that part. Millionaire, you can tell us your side.
Great. I think we're looking at first whether business was actually disrupted. And the reality of the matter is almost everyone was disrupted by COVID. No one had planned for it. It was a pandemic, and most people actually had it rough. Of course, us in creative space also, we had it rough because, as Masha says, this is not part of the need. However, I think it's also good to appreciate that anytime there's a problem happening, there's normally a shifting, or there's normally opportunities hidden within that pandemic. In actual fact, every time there's a problem, what happens is there's normally a shift between, there are some people who have stuff and others who don't have, who actually get a chance to capture them. So, and that happens in every angle. If you have a crowd of 20 people holding mangoes and you shake the ground, some people who are holding the mango, it will fall down. And people who did have the mango will get, because they're shifting. So in the same spirit, I think also it's good to appreciate. I think for me, what I noticed also is that there was some shifting in terms that there were things that even happened to a business that normally would not happen. Okay, so breaking it down, the first 3 months was zero. Like March, April, May, there was zero. There was nothing happening. I mean, everyone was in panic mode. Nothing really was happening. Then starting end of May to June there, we started seeing very interesting stuff, because we had customers or business that entirely relied on a certain value chain, but that is no longer supporting because of what has happened. And with that, they needed people like us to help them to get in a digital space, for instance. So, to be honest with you guys, like in June last year, there's one of a big manufacturer who, for the longest time, they used to service their product through the normal supermarkets. And because COVID had really hit hard, what happened is that they wanted to actually have, because they were doing majorly B2B. B2B is business to business. And they were coming to a place where they were appreciating, hey, we need to also have a connection with our customers. And as I say, the reason why I'm saying it's those opportunities. They actually give us business to be able to give them to be able to help them get in their digital space, whether it is doing their website, doing the social media, creating content that they can be able to push and connect with their customers. So every time there's a change, it's always good also to open our eyes to opportunities. And I know we are getting there, and also Masha will be talking to us how he is actually capturing these opportunities, because I remember even with Masha at some places when at the heat of COVID, enjoying good hotels, things that would not have enjoyed normal business. But they're realizing now, how do we create the photos to be able to talk to our customers? So during that shift, even opportunities open. And as business owners or creatives, I think we just need to keep our eyes open and being able to know how to can be able to pivot. You know, the way you can, you know, swing your weight to the other side. Back to you, Diba.
Now, you mentioned something very interesting in that businesses that were used to business kind of dealings had now to shift from business to now the end user, the consumers. Because I know, like most of the fast moving consumer goods, most of them that were used to sell it through the supermarkets ended up now selling them directly to clients. You could actually call the company and they would deliver directly to you, especially like the small water, food. And I think that's where now most of the global Jumia and even Uber Eats really picked up. Because if you notice, like that's where now everybody was locked up in the house and people didn't want any interaction.
Recording in progress.
Okay, like people did not want any interaction with the outside world. So definitely that meant among the people that were definitely going to miss out, especially people who are used to, if you're a photographer and you are used to doing a lot of family shoots. Actually, all of you are used to shooting families. So now you had to definitely start looking at the commercial end of it and how to deal with corporates. How was it? How was the transition now from, did you have to change like your clientele, and did you have to start now doing a lot of content creation for businesses?
I think if I can attempt to respond to that, Pacho. One, all of us, there's what we would say as skill sets, all experiences, and also strength that we have developed over time. You know, you've invested in gear, you invested in your skill. And part of the things that is always good to know is how are you able to swing or turn what you already have to your advantage, depending on the circumstance. So giving my personal, you know, a personal story here is I'm a photographer, yes. Okay. I had learned how to do some short films, some short videos. I was in the process of, for the last 2 years, I've been learning design. Okay. So, and also the bit of business strategy, content strategy. How do you help businesses, you know, connect with their customers and, you know, have an impact? Because someone said marketing is not a chase of the wallet. It's a run of the heart. Because the moment you connect with your, you know, your audience, your customers from a heart level, while it won't be an issue, they'll come voluntarily giving it to you. So over the few years, I've been, you know, just appreciating how do I be able to get in that space so that I can be of more help or I can be of more impact. And when COVID started, you've rightly said, there's someone who things have changed. You know, people are not walking to the shop anymore, but they had discovered their neighbor was just selling eggs online on Facebook. Crazy. Like, you know, anaweka tu bei za mayai hapo na watu wanakuja mbio mbio kununua, you know, orders na boda boda. And at that point is when they realized, you know what, I think there's market online and we need now to be able to shift. So the first time they called us actually to the business, they were calling us just take photos of their product, just photos of their product. But it's at that moment when I discovered, if I tell them I can be able to do your product photos, I'll be leaving money on the table. So what happened is, then you start having, you double clicking their needs and having serious conversation. So after you take the photos, what next? And then you start realizing, Allah, what are you going to do with our photos? Then how are you going to post them? What are you telling your people? What does your brand stand for? And through those few questions, they appreciated they need to do more. And we left there with some good business, that lasted us for a few months. So I think my point here is just looking at your skill set and knowing how you can spice it up a little bit, so that then you can be able not to leave money on the table. Because sometimes there are places you access that I cannot access. There are board meetings you're invited, I'm not invited, or Favier is not invited. But the moment you walk in there, make sure you don't leave money on the table, guys. Don't leave money on the table, or you give clients half-baked solutions. Because if they just take photos, what happened with those photos? Okay? Or if they do a small video, what happens? So it's having an opportunity to be able to look at a bigger picture and see how you can even be able to collaborate. Because at the end of the day, you're not able to do everything alone. So again, also people's skills come in and being able to appreciate that you can call one person here, another one person here, then you're able to bake a cake than giving your client, a piece of dough or some mixture of mayai. Back to you, moderator.
Maybe we can hear from the rest, Lucy and Masharya. Maybe you can tell us your experience as you transitioned from being a photographer into a content creator, because that's what most of us have ended up being with the shift of things.
Thank you so much, Patrick. I think for my case, I think even before COVID, business, we can't say it was that smooth. Yeah, there was a lot of challenges even before COVID. Yeah? And again, we are trying to reinvent photography because it is an industry that changed very, very fast because of the technology. And again, the way people are becoming aware, they are realizing what good photography is all about. So you realize everyone is a photographer today. Yeah. So long as you have that smartphone, you're a photographer. So you're a content creator. And you are doing it for business, like me. Yeah, Sinanga side has I do photography. Yeah, I breathe, I dream photography. So that's what I do as a business. And you can imagine the competition that was coming on board because everybody has become a photographer. And the challenge that comes in now is how to package that content for business. And that is where now I had to add more skills. Even before COVID, I was thinking about, I have grown my brand as a photography company. So I had to really think to convert it to be an agency. Because apart from taking photos, my clients need videos, my clients need some lighting, my clients need someone, like the way Maneki have said, once you do a whole shoot for maybe for a business, you realize they don't have someone for the social media and how to package that content to tell the story. And you as a photographer, you have invested a lot in terms of telling the stories. Unfortunately, how they package the story, some of them, they don't even have an idea. So this brings a very good opportunity as a photographer to think as an agency, where as a photographer, you can actually do the partnership with the people, you can actually do social media, you can do partnership with people who can do the writing, do the partnership with the guys who does the filming, so that you can consult your client. Because to be honest, photography itself, remember, everyone is a photographer. Kila mtu anapiga picha. So I've been paid by taking other people's photos. But now they can actually do them, and especially some of them, they even have better cameras than what I have. and the smartphone, the smartphone photography, the more if your phone can take better pictures, the more expensive it is. Kama hii yangu ya macho tatu, hii ni macho tatu, real lenses. So they think, by the way, you need this photographer, by the way. Tuko na birthday. So you can, maji simu yako inakuwa na picha poa manzi, si unapiga picha sawa. Then the story is done. So you realize sometimes it doesn't matter. Apart from us in the field who understand the way the photography is done, the quality, the image quality, most of the clients that we had before, they have no idea what it is. They just want a picture to share on Instagram. Maybe even some of the commercials I've actually done them with my phone. Yeah, because nowadays phone, they're actually shooting 4K. So the competition that was there, now this bread that you're all chasing, you want to buy it. Even the clients we had, they have invested in those kind of cameras, and the skills are there online. But what distinguishes you as a photographer, if you want to be a professional photographer, do business, is how you package your content, how you do business, how you do, how you communicate with your client. And after COVID, trust me, I had a lot of innovation. All the ideas I have, I took advantage of that time, and I started inventing the ideas I have. If I've never shared them, I've only shared it with a few clients I had to think how do I share these ideas to other more clients? And that's why I invested in social media. I used to post a lot. And that's why even Patrick can tell me, man, say, me, I took advantage. Me, I think I used to live in those best hotels. Because you see, me, as David Masharya, I know, as a creative, who doesn't want a good life? Yeah. And it gave me a good break where I can actually go and actually partner with hotels. I partnered with the tour operators, telling them, you guys, the reason you don't have business is because nobody talks about your story. You don't even talk about your stories. And nowadays, if you look at even the tourism, every industry, especially tourism industry, it's not like before, I need a tour agent to go to a certain hotel. I just log into booking.com or I just call the hotel myself and I take my family there. So what happened to the tour operator? I convinced them, you guys, you need to tell your own stories, the experience you give your client. And the best way you can do that is to use your smartphone and to use your cameras, or you buy a camera. So where am I doing business? So I train. I started training people how to use a smartphone. So I used to train how to use DSLR, how to make big businesses. But now I'm actually training organizations how they can actually use their smartphone to tell the stories of their business. That's one opportunity that came out to realize not every time with the communication department, they will always be calling the photographer. Some of them, they don't even have the budget. And in case you want to have business with this corporate, to be honest, what's a 27? Rocco brands, sometimes you tell them to create a budget for marketing. Trust me, zero. And they are doing badly. Why? Because they don't invest in marketing. The only clients you see they invest in marketing, most of them is the international brands who are operating here in the country. NGOs, conservation organization. And that was my target. That was my target. Because when you're doing business, you have to figure out who are you targeting to do this business with. So how I did it, I innovated the products I have, because I have the studios, I do a lot of events, but I think the money is no longer coming. So I had to figure out, where do I get the money? And how do I convert this idea to the business? And as much as you've been seeing in Masai Mara, I've been doing a lot of training for conservation agencies that are there. I have been doing some of the projects I'm actually putting forward. I have realized these projects have been done by the foreigners. They're the one who comes and actually do them here. Then the same opportunities they have, local photographers, you have the same opportunities. And in case you read my story yesterday in Standard, I figured it out. I said it. Opportunities that we have, but we don't see them. Other foreigners are the ones who see those opportunities. But kuna ile kitu nasemaga as a creative, and that's what I usually challenge my students. Mnasikianga kujituma, kiherehere. That's what have made me to do business in some corporation foreigners. They used to come and do that business there. But why? Nobody knows your work. Nobody.
Masharya?
Yes.
Yes. Let's hear something from Lucy, so that at least we can cover up everything. If you can hear Lucy, she was able to translate for dinner. Okay, thank you, Lucy.
Masharya, we hear here. That's the keyword to take out of there. Personally, I feel like all that you're all saying is, how do you create value? How do you make the client understand that you are bringing and creating value? Especially for one thing that I can understand is, for creatives, we have not been, some of you who have not gone to formal employment, hakunanga hiyo mutaratara understanding what is the corporate language. So something that I can acknowledge is, by understanding how do the corporate people understand things, and how can you come up and talk to them and say, not only will I do this, I will do this and this, and offer actual statements, because they work with targets and work with results. So by being able to break it down into that, then you'd have been able to create more value. So one thing that I noticed that worked for me, because we do photography and we partner with film, partner with it strongly, was audiovisual. Si kila mtu alikuwa anafanya live feed and live streaming. So that was a big market that was there for the tapping, including churches, and everybody seemed to have conferences that they could not attend, their gala events, so they had to do the live streaming. So that was a big source of tapping that we managed to do. And interestingly, the one thing that I wanted to say when you talked about going out into the bush and reinventing yourself was, I chose to go and live out of Nairobi for 1 month and try find out, will my business fall apart because I'm not there, or am I able to go there and create clients from scratch? Then you can say, I'm going to go and stay in Diani for 1 month and see if I am useful. If I'm in a new town, I'm useless. Because for me, it was really important to understand, is there anything that I can do if I'm not in Nairobi? if I'm a creative, I should be able to go out of Kenya and be able to still create value in Uganda. So I did a bit of testing of that, and I think we're going to discuss that in the next part of the questions. But yeah, creating value, that's the only statement I would say, creating value. Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you everyone for your input. Now, one, like for me, let me take a personal example. Like for me, I remember when COVID hit, that was March, and I had a conversation with the landlord. So I told him that I might be running a few days late with my rent. So if you can bear with me as I try to sort him out, because already by March business was actually by February, business was not so good on my end. So I asked him if he could allow me to probably stretch the dates by, let's say, a week or a week and a half. And he was not so happy with that suggestion. And I opted to go out. So I had to reorganize business and everything. And that's when online business really became, like most of you have said, really became the thing for me. And out of that, I actually built a whole new business image for me in terms of online. Now, I don't know how much of your business now went online as photographers. And as Lucia said, like, because meetings could not happen, events could not happen, big gatherings could not happen. So the need for online presence was really big, both for individuals and also for companies. Did any of you try to tap into that? And has your business changed? Do you still have a physical office, or right now you're all operating virtually? Maybe we can start with Dowdy.
Yeah. Thanks, Tiba, for that. Am I full online? I think for me, what I did is have been helping businesses go online. However, I still own a studio. I still have an office. Even right now, I'm talking to you guys from my studio, because here's the deal. For me, it was, of course, even for me, for the first 3 months, as I said, it was tough. The fourth month, I was like, you know what? I think I want to tell us this stuff. But one of my partners was like, dude, man, there'll be opportunities. And I think if you open your eyes to opportunities, you may not need to close the studio. And I think that was one of the best advice I got, because from that moment, I stopped looking, the way you look things linearly. And I started now scouting my eyes to something different. That helped me because, as I say, we started getting business in places that we could not get business before. And by the way, guys, I think I also need to tell you this. Remember, there was some business that were spending huge amount of money with big agencies. That's a fact. Now they cannot afford those agencies. They still need small guys. When I say small guys, it's the guys who can put 5-man team to do a production, or a 10-man team to do a 4-man team to do a production, even 1-man team to do a production. So those people, they are looking for us, or they are looking for, that's a need already. Okay. So through that partner or mentor of mine, I started looking at different opportunities. And to be honest with you, I got some biasharas. We got listed as suppliers in big organizations we never thought that we could be, And we even started very small, but by the end of the year, we are doing business that could be able to, pay rent, make sure that we have things moving. So yes, but of course, if you find yourself, and it's a good place to be, where you have tough conversation, where you ask yourself, is this thing serving me? If it's not serving me, you close it. If it's serving you, you keep it. So for me, one thing was serving me, right? And we are running with it. I know Masharya and Lucy have something to contribute on that.
Hey. I can go first. I think what Dowdy have said, yeah? It's also a lot of time, which is supposed to happen in every business. You develop the product first. You know, you have been doing this, you see an opportunity, you develop the product, then you have the target market, and which kind of, the way Bruce has mentioned, the value addition. Remember, you're not the first photographer to approach that company. Some of them, they had big agencies. So what value addition are you adding to this kind of product that you have actually developed? And I think that is one of the things. Everything else, unfortunately, that money is not coming. So you have to really encourage yourself. But first of all, I think that is the thing. And again, as we all pay for our business, and also the display of the literal resources that was coming for your business. Have a small display, and again, have a good relationship with your client, so that by the time you actually, especially when you start a new product, by the time you are making a mistake, you can always get the feedback, because those opportunities are still there, and more opportunities are still coming. There are new businesses that have actually thrived during this COVID. Okay, if you look at Amazon, it's among the companies that have made so much money over COVID, because people have realized I don't have to travel to go and get stuff, so I can actually import it. So all these people, they need stories. If you can actually package yourself as a photographer and move very fast, and partnership. Remember, you can't do anything. You can't do everything. Like for me, I have my film guys, and I realize I'm not a good videographer. I had to make sure I invest in someone we can actually agree with. And this is the kind of clients I'm targeting. This is what you're doing. The kind of team that you have to identify the talents that you need to partner with. And sometimes in business, you don't even have time to train. So you have to look for people who are already good at that. And some of them, they come with a price. So for you to be able to give good value, you have to invest in a team that can help you learn your business when you're not even there. And one of the things that really challenged me during the COVID was like, how do I meet all these overheads? Remember, I have 2 studios, and I have an online market I'm still doing. And these are the things that kill every business, what we call the overheads. Because Rado doesn't want to know whether you made money or not. You still have to pay the money. And I think the kind of location that we have, they were draining us every month. Every month you feel so drained. There's not enough money. You have to explain a lot of things. Sometimes even auctioneers comes and like, hey, I'm not closing the business. I still have to continue because I have something called hope. That's what have actually kept us entrepreneurs. That hope and the positive vibe, that's what have kept us. Because closing down is an option every day, but closing down is an option. So you have to encourage yourself every day, look for more opportunities. Don't stick to the thing that you have been doing. Thank you.
So Masharya, just to ask you a question on what you're saying, because you're saying you're thinking of opening a 3rd studio, right?
Sorry?
So how big is your online presence, and have you decided to move, maybe like can online be a 3rd location?
Actually, the next big shop we are launching, it will be an online shop, because remember we have to develop some products. Yeah. So I'm starting the shop where you see, like in the background, I have so many images that I sell through social media, and it is like a small Shutterstock. Yeah. So, but I want to go bigger online than having the studio. And that's what I would advise every photographer coming up. If you can actually go big online and have a stable website, have an active social media, people will know your product. They don't even care whether you have an office or not. And the good thing about online shops, they are open 24 hours. Hakunanga story ati saa mbili, umefungua office zi, pale hata kwa kitanda bado uko busy mbaya. Yeah? So we are going big online because we have developed several products. Yeah, that is the school, the training, and now the product that we have for the wildlife pictures, because also we use our pictures to tell stories, and some of the companies that buy images from us so that they can actually be able to, for the decor, telling the stories, for their graphics and all that. So we are going big online, but again, also the strategy we have. Remember, this country is growing. The county, after the devolution, the county, manze, hata tusikumane hapa Nairobi, hapa Kanairo, me, I'm thinking of other places. And trust me, I think we have better opportunities in other counties, not just in Nairobi. Why? Because there's a lot of opportunity. There's new breed coming up. Depending on the product that you are giving, there are new products coming up. There are new inventories that are coming up. There's new money in the county. There are new money in the county. So it's something that you can also invest in, not just stuck in Nairobi.
And for the listeners who are joining us online, thank you so much. And stay tuned as we still have got so much content that we need to get from our last Lucy online.
Yes. Before we go online, I think I want to address that I know a lot of my friends photographers who close their studios. So for me, I've always been a firm believer of overheads. Whatever overhead you can avoid, if you don't need it, please don't go there. For me personally, our studio is in South B, and I created it. There's a main house, then there was an extension. So my overheads have always been smaller. Of course, there are times when people ask, why don't you go to the next biggest mall and pay to 250,000 over there? But for me, that has not been my model. So I would want to tell everybody, opening a studio, imanisho umefika. So don't have checklists where you're telling yourself, the next move of me proving to myself that I'm a photographer, or proving to my parents or anybody in the online spaces that I have a studio. You do not have to define your success with that. For me, the studio has always been a business place where we come and sit as a team and meet together and edit. For me, I always knew niliachia David to be making the money on Sunday. For me, I know that is my studio is an office space. For me, that is not where my key business is. You see, with me being at peace about that, I do not stress when I don't make 100,000 per day with studio. I do not go crying about it because I know that's not my target. So choose your battles and prioritize your expenses. So do not assume that just because you don't have a studio, haujafika. So because that will save you a lot of heartache of opening and then having unrealistic. I keep saying, anytime someone says, why not open a studio in the mall? Okay, that 250,000 or that 200,000, the first 2 months, yes, nitaweza kutoa. After that, how am I going to be able to sustain it? Will I be going to do documentaries and getting money out there with the NGOs to come and pay? Since I couldn't get studio shoots enough to fika 150,000, I wouldn't make that decision. So do not be under any pressure to open studios to prove a point to anybody. It's not a measure of success. So what I wanted to then say is, what are you happiest? What is your niche? What are you happiest creating? And for you to really understand if you need to go to studio or not, ask yourself, what is my niche as a photographer? And I do not want you to have pressure about it, because when I started in 2014, all the way to 2017, I did not know what was my niche. It's only recently when someone told me, Lucy, I think you're really, 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 really good at creating headshots. And I'm like, okay, actually, I really, really enjoy it. So just know you will evolve. Do not be under pressure telling yourself, oh, now I don't know what I'm good at. I do baby bumps, I'm good. Studio, I'm good. Wildlife, I'm good. Street photography, I'm good. Just flow, because you're going to over time start edging into something that you're like, and you're in and it's your kesha. I go back home feeling like my back is dying when I do this one. I personally love interacting with people. So products for me is a no-go zone. How am I going to talk to that product? I cannot smile with it. It does not give me back the emotions that I'm giving it. So for me, I don't pressure myself about products. And that for me is just a simple thing. Unless I get a huge client who already I'm doing work with, I'll be able to say, okay, yeah, we do products. I did millionaire kuja studio, kuja fanye kazi, mimi sitawezana nayo, but the client is already there and he's my client or she's my client. And one more way that you can be able to know what is your true niche and where you need to prioritize and put your money at is ask your friends, when you are looking at my work out there, what is it that I do that you think I'm best at? So that's the 2 ways to know what is your niche. Because for me, I just don't want anybody going to overheads that you don't need. Do not go to overheads that you don't need. Asante.
But Lucy, just something that you mentioned, photography, it's something very passionate. It's something very individual and passionate and emotional draining. Because it takes so much of your time and so much of your thinking. And basically, as a photographer, it's like, for me, it normally drains me. So something that you mentioned, that ask your friends what they think you're good at. Should it be more of you as a photographer sitting down and seeing where you gain the biggest pleasure in it?
And that's why I say there are 2 ways. There's one way someone can tell you, I think, Lucy, you're really good at this. You have not understood that you're actually really, really good. And that happened to me because I feel like there's this at the end, we will have a place where demystifying what people say. You're thinking that everybody is having a smooth day every day, but even if people who are experts, David on us, particularly will look up and be like, I'm even good at this thing. Why am I even still doing this? We all have those days when you're asking yourself that. So it took someone to be like, I think, Lucy, you're really good at this. Then I was actually like, okay, you know what? I'll put more energy and more money and invest more in that department and able to multiply it. So 2 ways, your friend who is an objective friend who cares about you, not just asking on social media for people to rant there and give you hate speech. So going to Dowdy and saying, Dowdy, by the way, since you're usually seeing me online, what do you think actually seems like I am really good that you can be like, Enya Lucy, you mentioned upwards, I can't compete with that. Then exchanging the same to him, that's one way. Two, for me, it was how I moved out of weddings was I realized I actually enjoy more doing the corporate work. So for me, I actually came to the terms of I'm enjoying this more than this other one. So those are the 2 ways that you can decide what's your niche and put your money and your mouth and your strength in that thing. But before then, do not have to pressure. Everybody probably does 2, 3, 4 years of not understanding a niche until they get there. So do not feel like, oh, I just started photography last year and now I need to know a niche. No, just flow. It will take a while before you get to understand what you really like.
Thank you. Now, with the pandemic, most of us really had to shift. But then, even during that shift, like most of us, the first few months before we actually understood what was happening, businesses were closing down and everything. Did you have to do something else in the meanwhile as you cover for your bills? Because whether businesses are on or off, whether you're still taking photos or not, your bills are still there. Your stomach still needs something. You still need a roof over your head. Did any of you have to gear out into trying something new? Like for me, I went out and I started selling ready to cook potatoes, chipo. And I really enjoyed it. And just when things were starting to get a bit more normal, I have tried to stop it, but then I can't because I already have a clientele based on that. So that means I actually have another business running concurrently with my photography. I know of some photographers who have gone to welding. Some of them have gone into doing courier business. Basically, did any of you have to think or go to that end? Because I think David Masharya is the only one who said, yali pandagari akenda kwa msitu.
Nauzanga mayai Masai Mara.
That's very interesting. It's good. It's a good spot someone to find where you are and appreciate what you're able to do. Personally, I did not go very far away because here's the deal. And this is my understanding. I'm not trying to say the guys who are doing that, they are doing wrong. If it's working for you, that's amazing. But for me, what I discovered is that for me to make any money anywhere, it requires some element of a small mastery. I would not call it mastery proper because really, it's all of us are learning. So for me, it was easier to pivot to things that are already still in creative than something that is very far away. I see with some people who are selling onions and stuff, and I congratulate them because they're doing amazing. But I think the way my mind is wired, it's kind of wired to. It didn't find it very easy to pivot to crazy things like Waru, Kenago. Even how do I get these guys? So it was easier for me to. I'm actually saying. And I appreciate what you guys are doing because that's a talent. But I'm saying some of us are limited, and with my limitation, it was easy to do things that are closer to you, and that was what was close to me. Was maybe to do something else that is not very far away from, like design. I think I've been learning design for some time. That is my story,
So question to you, Maneki. Are you trying to tell us that if you're taken from where you are and thrown into another department other than engineering, that you won't survive? Like what are your survival instincts? Dowdy Maneki.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. I hear you. So what I'm saying is, it's important for someone to look at what you're able to pivot to, and if you're able to pivot to something, please do. I mean, and that's amazing. You know, if someone say that the species that survive are the ones that adapt easily. But there's a huge tolerance between adaptability. There are people who will adapt to something else, others adapt to something else. So whatever you're able to adapt, maze, kimbia uko.
So I will say that, I know, I feel like also I would have to, first of all, we're business. I feel like I'm a businesswoman before I'm a photographer. And for me, I would be very happy to have different streams of income. So during COVID, though, I did not go into that. I chose to now this one time to say I want to grow myself. So I sat down and asked myself, in 10 years' time, where do I want to be? Do I want to be a photographer? Clicking, where do I want to go? And then I came to the conclusion that where I want to go needs me to have studies and papers. And now I want to introduce a totally challenge for creatives. Most of the time, we never go past the degrees we have. We never try to go past the diploma, past the certificates we have. So I chose to know that wherever I want to go 10 years from now will need me and require me to have documentation that I will not be able to beat somebody who has that. So then I chose to go back to school. So that was not what I was doing offline. Like in January, Patrick, you just asked what we're doing to put money on the table, not to consume what we have. But I knew that's the one time I could be able to prioritize to go and do online studying. So that's a challenge to people. What do you want to do 5 years from now? Will there be a paper that will be able to set you forward, despite, even if it's people are looking for top photographers in 100 all over the world, and then they ask you, bring all your documentation. Because sometimes I feel like as creatives, I don't want to tell myself that, oh, my work will speak for myself. One day we will both be very good photographers, the three of us, David, Mimi, and Maneki. And at some point they'll say, all of us are really good equally. So now let's start kwanza kuchuja mtu based on other mere disqualifications. Then they'll say, oh, huyu msa kona masters. Kona masters na kona picha poa kuliko Lucy. So why would we not take them? Because sasa takuja ku bring in a new different aspect of research. So let's also then kind of challenge ourselves about the education part. And as I say that, there's a tender I was trying to apply for road and construction and photography, and they were looking for someone who has masters in film and media. I was like, who would even have masters in film and media? I only know people who've done degree to talk up on evil. I'm not planning to go and do a master's in film. I was going to do something else. So honestly, I think in our space, we don't try to grow our studies, and that's a challenge to all of us. So that's why I went back to school. Intellectual property, I came to learn despite me hoping that it's better to buy land than to get a degree or master.
I think I tried to get into because I did. You remember during the COVID, at that time I decided to travel a lot, and I saw a lot of opportunities. So what I did, I consulted the people I met there, like in Masai Mara, in Chaldi. With the skills I have for business, I consulted them to up their game so that I can actually be able to do partnership with them. Because there's no way I could start. I had an opportunity to start a tour operating in Kapam. I had an opportunity to start new business in Mara, but me, I believe more in partnership. So I told them, this is the value I'll bring on board, and I need you guys. This is what I need from you. So what I did, I invested more in consulting other businesses, how best they can actually position themselves in the global market. And I think that's why, as much as you guys know, when I'm a Masai Mara or those places is too expensive. If I can tell you, the kind of consultation I did, I can actually go to a hotel and stay for free. Why? Because I couldn't go and start my own camp. But I actually, some of the camps, I created my own description, telling them, this is what I will be doing for your camp. This is what I'll be doing for you guys, but give me a place to stay. You get my point? Because I had a lot of the opportunities were there because, there's nothing good like what we call passive income. Yeah. And that's why, as I celebrated my birthday just another day, 40 years. I say, so I'm in those age where I need to have more passive and empower other people so that I can actually invest in them, so that by the time I'm actually getting to 45, 50, I still getting good passive income without me being there. So me, I think what I invested in is encouraging people to package their business to what can be, because some of us, we have good businesses, yes, good product, but we don't know how to partner, how you can actually make more. You are one-man show. Yeah. So that's what I did. I started consulting other businesses that I can do. This is the best way you can actually package it, and this is the value I'll bring on board, and what I'll be getting. So I became a venture capitalist. So And that's what I've even been doing even today. Even when you see I do my lot of posts, those are just others. But again, also especially to small businesses where I can actually get some, Niliuza mayai, by the way. I was not joking. In Masai Mara, if you go to Masai Mara, they used to get stuff from Narok. So I consulted a business. Now they can bring products near to those camps and actually with a very good price. And business is war. They don't sell them at this price. So that's what I did. And it was not easy because we didn't have what this COVID gonna do to our business. But sisi bado tuko tu. So we are just pushing things and trying to invest how we can get passive income. Every business person is supposed to actually focus on more passive. Hakuna pesa ya picha na nini, pesa ni pesa. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. David, and thank you for all of those people who have joined us online. And particularly, I want to say a big shout out to Samir Kamali, and he also has a question, and I hope one of us will be able to answer this by the end of when we're coming to the end of this video. And the question is, he's from Tanzania. He's from Tanzania, and his question is: as a freelance photographer, how am I able to take photos around town? Because I have been told it's difficult and that the authorities can question you. So I hope by the time we're coming to a finish, one of us will be able to tackle that. Hopefully, Masharya will be among the ones to tackle it since you have an office in town. And I'm sure you have been drafted around by the authorities because of that.
Exactly.
Okay. So if I can go, sorry, you wanted to say something?
You want me to answer that question? How difficult it is to take photos in the city center?
Yeah, but not now. Once you're done with our discussion.
Okay.
Okay. So probably the next thing that we're going to look at is: are there any new transitions or any new business opportunities, business solutions for yourself that you think will now apply? Because COVID is here to stay. If you have to be honest with ourselves, COVID is here to stay. Ni mtu jipange vile utaishi nayo. True? So are there new measures that you have taken, or are there things that you're planning, or do you see forthcoming in the near future that we need to position ourselves to? Because the other day I was speaking to one Mr. Willie Muturi about weddings. And one of the things that he has noticed as a wedding photographer is that big weddings have started becoming smaller and shrinking and becoming more personal. Okay, so that means that even with more organizations, the same thing is going to happen. Even with international conferences, I'm foreseeing them becoming more virtual than physical. Where if let's say if your company has partnered with another company in the UK, most likely they're going to do it more virtually than physical. So are we prepared for that? Are we prepared to live with COVID and the consequences? And how are you going to, or how have you shaped your business to adapt to that?
I think I would want to take that first. And I like the question how you have framed it, whether we are prepared. Because I think the bit of preparation is major. Someone said that success is when opportunity meets preparedness. So when the two collide, that is success. So I think we need to be prepared for the future and for today. Last month, one of the things I did, was it last month, but one, we're in August, right? So July, June, the things we did were very interesting because we're actually working with a UN agency, and the requirement was a little bit peculiar because when I looked at what they wanted to be done, it is what normally would take a 4-man team, but they were saying they are paying for only one person. Okay, and because all of us, we don't have so many business coming, I picked it when they said this is the budget and this is what you want us to do, I said, okay, I'll do it. Okay, to break it down, they wanted someone who can do still photography for some farmers in the country, do interviews in terms of video, do some B-rolls in terms of, for building that story, what the farmer is talking about, be able to do captions. So if the farmer is preparing coffee or planting coffee, you caption that image that this Arabica or this SH, whatever is planted at this level, then, proper captions, and still go around the field with forms to be able to fill the model list form. So when you think about all those things being done, really one person was an overkill. But I got a friend, and so I had to share my money with him because I could not do it alone. But apparently, we drove around and did that work. So the bit about being prepared is huge, because being able to be just one-man team, you're shooting stills, you're doing filming, you're doing the story, because you're actually almost like the reporter there, because you're still the one interviewing the farmer to give a good story. Otherwise, if you just mount a camera on a tripod and look at them, they'll be able not to say much. But being there to be able to have that conversation with them and just how they're getting help, how they're doing with their crops, how is it good, and all that thing, it's a bit that stretched me, and I was like, wow, I think we need to be prepared for more work. And as I give the mic to someone else, I think also you've been complaining that sometimes we see some of these international organizations sending photographers, the Caucasian guys, the Mzungu guy, being sent to do some work here. And I think the challenge for us is, are we prepared to be able to do what they used to do, Because midway to the work is when someone actually told me the work I was doing, there was an Australian photographer who was supposed to come from Australia to come and do the work. But because of the COVID regulations, they were like, let's source internally, okay? Luckily, I got it. And I'm waiting to be paid some dollars. So it's a good place to be. But are we prepared? How prepared enough to be able to handle some of these interesting opportunities and challenges? So, yeah. Deepa, back to you.
Now, a question. Is it that as photographers, we're not prepared, or is it that the market is not prepared for us to start taking up those jobs? Because I believe we have got people who are skilled and well-versed with these things, just the same way as we have got people flying in to the country to do the same jobs.
I would say I would say when posed with a scenario, ask yourself, what can I do in it? Because that you can control. Others you can't control. You can't control things that are outside you. So as a photographer, of course, we have had some injustices of things that we can do here, seeing someone coming from out to do. But question yourself and ask yourself, truly, if I'm thrown this challenge, am I able to handle it? And genuinely go into the shoes of that person and see whether you can handle it. And most of the time, you're not personally the one to answer that, is to look at someone else actually give you that feedback, or go and do an assignment, whether it is free or voluntary job, and being able to submit that work, and let me gauge it and say, yes, are you able to do this? Rather than you, kujichocha tu kisemanga, we can do these things. We can do these things. But there's nothing to prove that you can actually deliver it. I think that's my response to that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dowdy. David, are you prepared for the future?
I think inasemekananga tumasomo kidogo tu si mbaya. Like what Lucy, nataka turudi shule. I think opportunities that are there, trust me, the only people who get those opportunities are the people who are hungry. And that's the gospel I keep on preaching. Be hungry. But as much as you are hungry, how prepared are you for these opportunities? Because they are there, and there are so many. And you can imagine, like, if money can work for agencies like for UN, even like for the last I did 3 months, that's the kind of work I've been doing for UN. And some other serious agencies, I never thought I can actually get a job there. But it's because of the boundary that we have as a corporate and the creative. That's what most foreigners knew before we do. So, but again, invest in some of these skills. Yeah, and some of them are online. Yeah, how to run your brand as an agency, and again, how to do the communication and how to understand the brief. Yeah, there's some brief unaweza toa mazi unaambia unfortunately I don't think you're in a position to actually execute this. But as a business person, you have to really think, who do you need to partner with? You don't say no. Yeah, like for me, I get those kind of assignment where I have to be one-man show, like the projects I think 2 years ago in Swaziland. You realize they want a photographer, the same photographer to do the captioning, the same photographer to do the video. Unfortunately, sometimes you feel like, okay, I have to do all these things for me to get a job. First of all, if it's a fight, and again, they only want to have only one person. So some of these opportunities are coming. How prepared are you? How is your website? How is your social media? Have you invested in something called SEO, that is search engine optimization, where that in case they are looking for a humanitarian photographer in Africa, will you be part of the list? Yeah, these are the things that you can prepare yourself with, and I think I can testify to that. For me to be able to do so many clients, to have so many inquiries, is because some of those things are what I've done. So I get inquiries just because someone Googled he's looking for this kind of a photographer, then they read on my page, either photography by David or versatile photographers. So
Masharya, you look to have frozen. Okay. So maybe as he tries to get back, Lucy, you can tell us.
I remember when 2 years, is he back? I remember 2 years ago when I knew I want to now major and go into documentary photography. I knew first that I wanted to try and get the Sony A7R because I was like, it's small, it's versatile. I can go when they need a one-woman job. I can go with a small camera. It feels smaller. So then as he's saying, I got ready with all the necessary equipment and necessary spaces and made sure I have my website and my, the documentations. Started photography, they never registered a business. So by David, Merodi.
Lucy, you can finish up and then David
okay, yes. I was saying, so one thing that helps you set apart is by being able to have registered the company Kitambo. For example, now if they go and ask, you're supposed to submit all your documents. Wakute Dowdy Millionaire alifungua kampuni yake 2016. Mwingine ameandika amefungua 2020. Of course, you're going to think he has more experience, despite you having been in the business for a longer time. So I feel like one thing that most creatives don't do after they start business, they don't register the business name, because that kind of sets you behind. When people are looking for 7 years experience, watakuta Favier kona yo 7 years experience, only because even before I knew what I was doing, I had already registered a name called Favier. So the challenge I'd give to people, go and register the documentation, get the licensing for film, whatever you need to get that will make sure that you are able to apply for those big tenders and really qualify. So I think that's what I would say. I am prepared in that way. I have done all my social media groundwork. I have made sure that the website is optimized. If you come, you'll find that I have all my documentations. I have my tax compliance certificates. I'm making sure I'm paying my taxes so that then nothing would make me be disqualified. I have the AGPO certificate. Most of us here are underused, apart from Mr. David, who has just disclosed that he's doing very well. I think you look very good for your age, quite honestly. So yeah, Sante.
Thank you so much, Lucy. And David, you're telling us something before internet did a number on you.
Yeah, I was telling you, like someone like me, I don't have a CV. Yeah, the only thing that deters me is my profile. What do I mean by a profile? As a creative, nobody knows what you do unless you tell us in a PDF. This is what you're good at. My name is David. I'm born raised like those American photographers. I'm born raised in Kenya, and I'm a photographer. I do wildlife photography. I'm a commercial photographer. Because unachapanga mawedo, I'm a wedding photographer, and have some images you have done. If like for me, I think I have 7 profiles. Yeah. I know some photographers will do. Yes, I have a profile specifically for humanitarian. My name is David Masharya. I'm a humanitarian photographer, depending with the brief. The next one, if I'm going like the project I'm doing for like WWF is, hey, my name is David Masharya. I'm a wildlife photographer, and and I do a lot of stories about culture because they are running together. You have to create a profile of what you're good at, specifically for what you're good at. If I get a client getting married, yeah, my name is David and I'm a wedding photographer. And the kind of content I have, if you look at my website, davidmasharya.com, you see all the categories of what I'm good at. Because I think with the experience I have had, me as being a business person, I invested in so many photographers, and I was very uncomfortable to learn even how to do product photography because I didn't have someone I can actually partner with to do product photography for me. I didn't have someone I can partner with to do real estate photography with. I had to learn all these genres of photography. And I think if you look at my architectural photography, that one I have done like in the country, is some of the jobs that I have done, and I'm very proud of myself and some of these skills, they are there. So you just need to know who does architectural photography. You ask questions, so long as you know how to operate the camera, but how you package yourself, that's how you should prepare yourself for the next assignment. When you want to run through like big shots, like what Dowdy Maneki is doing, like organization, some of them, they really need to see a stable website. Some of the works you have done before. If you look at me as a conservation photographer, you actually see in my PDF, I have the links of the organizations I have worked for. I have the links of the work that I have actually executed. So when you do any job, make it you deliver it 101%. You over deliver, since it's the next portfolio that's going to secure another job for you. And sometimes, and this is one of the biggest challenges I'm finding with photographers, the way I said before, kujituma. Some of this business that I'm doing, you're seeing me doing for conservation and stuff. Did you know I started this project back in the 2015 and I started donating my work? Because there's no way these KWS could know the kind of work I do. And you see their social media, they use my work. I donate my content to them and they give me a platform to pitch for the next conservation organization, which I can't donate my work to them, I'll charge them. So one thing, create a profile. Yeah, that's what we talk about. See your CV, oh, I went to this Kashororo primary school and nikaenda campus huku, sasa niko na hizi. No. Yeah, those papers are there, we'll look at them. But as a creative, we hire you with what you can deliver and what you have delivered before. So you have to make sure your profile is as good as no any other photographer. If you are a wildlife photographer, be the best and demarket when you are the best photographer for wildlife in Kenya. Hata kama unapiganga dudu, yani unajichocha, unajua kujichocha, yeah? What's it called, the bragging rights? You brag yourself so that people can actually be able to see.
Masharya, let me just ask you.
Yes.
Because what, from what you're saying, it's you touch on everything, but nothing is specific.
Yes.
Like Favier has said that she's good with people. She loves interacting with people on a one-to-one. Anything inanimate, she wouldn't touch.
Yes.
Like for you, is there a niche that you have created or you'd want to create for yourself, or for you anything goes as long as it brings bread to the table, you are going to do it?
I think I think I'm good in 9 genres of photography. To be honest, I had to learn all these things. Remember when I registered the company back in the year 2007, I used to get inquiry just because I did a wedding for someone. And there is a David, in our office, we need some photos of the building that we have set. So I had to learn architectural photography. So architectural, by the way, and I think if you have seen like what I've done for the JKA and several companies, trust me, some of these photos, I didn't have people like Nandi by that time. So I had to learn. So I am good at each and every genre of photography I've invested in. The only photography I'm not good at, kuna vingine ya product photography mazi kama kina Gibson mazi siwezi fika hiyo range. Lakini kuwekewa kitu hapo kwa black and white background na nichape, I can do that. But there's another level of that kind of photography I can actually be there. But what I'm trying to say, so long as you have the camera, try also to invest in yourself. Why? My dream was to start an agency that does all these things. And in my school, I teach these things that I know as an advanced course where I teach, it is wildlife photography. This is how you should do wildlife photography. Because I have learned it. And if it's wedding, this is how to do wedding. Because I'm very good at that. And the reason I did that is something called the power of broke. Manze, when you are broke, you think. what can I do to be able to give value? So in weddings, in products, in Wildlife, like the project I'm currently doing is work Wildlife. How do I give value in Wildlife? So I had to learn how to do it, and I take time. Trust me, for me to execute something, I take time to learn. Then when I execute it, I make sure I'm the best. And you guys, you have seen my squirrel. Yeah, you have seen my squirrel. Nilijichocha nayo mpaka ikaenda BBC Wildlife. Yeah, because in business, as me as a creative entrepreneur, I have to look for what gives me mileage, what gives me visibility. Wildlife Pictures right now, they're the one trading online, but I'm selling my main company, which is Versatile. People actually see a good picture of a cheetah hunting and stuff. They see Versatile photographers, so they have an interest. This company does versatile photography. What does it do? Wanaona tunafanyanga family, wanaona tunafanyanga commercial, wanaona tunafanya humanitarian. Then you create what we call a funnel. That's what I have done. I have created a funnel of all kinds of photography. So ile mnaitanga jack of all trades, but you have to be a very expert. So I identify talent. Kama if I have someone like Nandi who is very good at texture. David, niaje, I have this client, enda uchangamuke na hiyo job. Yeah, if I get like humanitarian, I have a Wanjara, kuna hii job mazi enda. For now, I just refer other photographers because I can't do everything. But very soon, Hub Africa, I will be able to convert the job for them, and I can be able to identify the talent that is the best on that. Because maybe it's very fun job searching. I just want to sit down and work with the bank. And again, I empower the people who have raised. You get my point? That's why I ended up learning all the genres of photography, including astrophotography. When I'm in Masai Mara, mimi si rangi na kuanga tuko na camera usiku kupiga watu. So, because it's something also I'm learning, I can be able to teach others.
Thank you, Masharya. Now we also have in our midst we have got Steve Derito, Prince himself. I'm going to give him a few minutes to talk to us the same. But just before he talks, I would like to say a big shout out to Agnes Kamau, who's joined us via YouTube. And her question is, how do I, with no networks, with no business at the moment, make money from photography? I think we're going to answer that as soon as Prince has spoken. So, Derito, are you there? Steve Derito, principal. Okay. I think he has an issue with his net. So just with that, maybe one of us can just respond to Agnes. Okay.
I think I can respond to Agnes.
Yes, please, David. Dowdy.
Agnes,
sorry, Dowdy.
This creative business you are hired basically because of what you've done. So if you have no networks, you have no business at the moment, how you can make money? I think first you need to create a portfolio. You can do it as a personal project, or you can do it as free work, actually pro bono. Of course, targeted pro bono, which is strategic, but that will give you biashara later. However, if you just sit in the house and do nothing, it'll be very hard to be honest, for business to find you. So you may want to decide, do you want to do it as a personal project where you do a personal project of the things you want to be hired? Or number two, what are those places or opportunities you can volunteer and do a pro bono job? Then, as you share and post that job, and of course you have an agreement with them that I'm doing this pro bono, but also use it to market myself, you put it on social media. Then as people see you outside and see the kind of work you're able to produce, then they're likely to hire you for that work. I always say, most of my very good jobs I've gotten, they have actually come through pro bono in quotes. Okay? I'll give you two very quickly. My first international that I did, one of it through in a way that you could not even have. There was a baby bump something, not baby bump, but one of the big shots had an event at MJC, and I actually did that work for free. You know, the photographer was supposed to come, did not show up. So a friend who knew me was, "Dude, are you around? Please come with your camera." I shot that event, gave them their photos. There's an echo. I don't know where it's coming from. So they shared on what they call share folders. You know, the way you share together with everyone who was in that event. And from there, people scattered, where some went to the agencies. And when one lady who had gone to the agency, when they had gotten a big job for KCB Group to take their board of directors and head of departments and head of business photos. So like, there's a guy who did some photos here and they think he can do a good job. So I need to do a portfolio that Masharya is talking about. And before I knew it all, I was being asked to give my passport. And that's how I started going to South Sudan, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, shooting for KCB. So if I didn't go for that event and shoot for free, why would I have seen my work? And you've heard people here saying how their free work has actually given them access to a place where they were in. So I think for you decide how you want to make sure that your work is out there, but please make sure your work is out there that is good enough to be hired. Back to you.
Thank you. And now maybe we can go back to the first question which Samir had asked about shooting in town. David, I think you are a town guy. How hard or how easy is it to shoot in town?
Yeah, I'm no longer a town guy, Bona. The last time I was in CBD, So, but maybe I can just say what I know, how it goes about that. First of all, if you're shooting in town, first of all, especially if you're talking of Nairobi City, the insecurity in that place, you have to make sure you have an assistant. Yeah, the first thing, have an assistant. Second thing, make sure where you're shooting is not somewhere that is abandoned. Because the moment I see you guys, you're shooting there, I mean in body. Kuna vile tu nitakamia tu, yeah, ati mnashoot pale kwa kona kwa corridor fulani sijui kwa street fulani na kunanga wase buda nitakujia, yeah. So you have to make sure wherever you are shooting it's a public place, like somewhere that is open. Alternatively, you must hire a security. Yeah, you can go into a police station, you say you'll be shooting, so you either hire a cop there so that you can actually spend time with him when you're shooting because of the safety of your gear. But again, remember, there's some guys called city council. There's a certain barua you are supposed to pay. There's someone you're supposed to pay a certain fee so that you can actually shoot around the city, especially when you're doing a commercial project. Yeah, if you're doing an advert, you know, definitely there's some regulation that you have to go through to Kenya Film Board, and again, go to the council, pay for this permit, nini. But if you're doing just street photography, sometimes it's good to be very careful. And they have to karao pare, you know, rafu mshine nae, shoot job yako niishe. Alternatively, jifanye roho juu kama vijana. Mimi napataka vijana Nairobi City, especially Sunday. As you said, hazina towers. Photographers wanakuanga hivi. So you can take advantage of that. The more you guys are, you can actually be more safe. But it's not the right thing to do. Because even when you are many, you never know who is next to you. Because I've been seeing young photographers doing a lot of photo shoot around those streets. Yeah? Make sure there are enough people so that you can be safe. And again, remember, I say wangu amelipa anything kwa kanjo. Kanjo ikikuja, unaona vile huko anatembeanga taa huko downtown na ukiona huko, buda unatoka unyoya. Because ukishikwa but sometimes there's a photographer who is starting. He might not even have the budget to go and pay the city council. He might not have the budget to go and pay a cop. So that's why I usually suggest those photographers, how they are doing it, they don't pay those guys, which is, I think, is legal according to our Kenyan law. But in other cities, mtu anapiganga picha vile anataka. So, but again, just be cautious where you are shooting. And again, if you have the budget, go and pay off all those permits so that you can be safe. Once you pay the permit, make sure you have a police with you so that you can actually, your gear can be safe. Because kuna vile wasi wanajua hao mnakuja kupiga picha hapa, mnagojango hapa. Kamera zako zinaenda. So just be cautious when you're doing it. Create a budget, hire a cop, make sure you have an assistant, 1 or 2, yeah, so that you can actually be safe with your gear. Thank you.
Let me add on to that. So make sure you also have insurance for your gear, and also find out if you don't really have to do street photography, what's an alternative place you can do? What is it that you're really looking for on that street that you cannot get anywhere else? If you can get an alternative, the better. Or maybe it's because that's the only free place you thought is free. Look for your alternative and have insurance.
And the last one may be a quick one. is that at times you don't have to be in the streets. I think once we started, a while back, we used to do light chasing. When we were young in photography, we would climb buildings. And one of the pro tip that we used to do is look for a building that you can go in that has access to the street that you want to shoot.
Okay.
And how we used to do it, we just chotea wochi yamacho. Yamacho is in Kenyan is you give them something, to drink tea or something, and these guys will allow us in the rooftop and we would shoot. And it was safe for us. It was safe for the equipment. It was safe that we didn't get cops or kanjo coming for us. So you just be a little bit genius around it. Back to you.
Do you know those projects that we used to do? Do you know I got a very huge business from a company called, it's an international company from UK that does engineering. That's the only portfolio I had of architectural photography.
Wow.
Buda. Okay. So some of those things are kujituma, by the way, they really helped us. Those pro bono stuff, you do something to uplift your portfolio. So actually, it gives you a platform where someone can actually see that. And you know the good thing, we are in a very good industry. Pictures attract attention. If you, like now, zile picha nitapost leo jioni za a leopard called Luluka in Masai Mara, they will drive some attention. Wow, hii picha imepigwa na Kenyan photographer. Manzi ilikuwa zinapigwa na wazungu. Na hizi vitu ziko tu hapa. So hizo vitu za kujituma, they create a lot of attention. And once they create that attention, I would like you guys to visit my website called davidmasharya.com. There's some lesson I have listed there, the lesson for success. You see 22 lessons, how you can actually, unajituma, and you make sure that the kind of attention you attract, you convert that into the business. Yeah, make sure you go through that website. I think that's because nikianza kuongea hiyo story manzi mpaka David atasema hebu ambie ujamaa nyamaze.
Masharya basi nyamaza kwanza. So now, if we can have Derito, have you been able to check in? Because our time is up. So Derito. Steve. Okay, I think he still has an issue with his internet. So once again, I would like to thank everyone who was able to join us live, either via YouTube or Facebook, and those of us who are able to join us in Zoom. Thank you so much for creating time, and to our panelists, thank you so much for creating the 2 hours of your schedule. I know you're busy people. You should have been creating content for more of your clients, but you decided to share valuable and intelligible info with us. So I'd like to give a personal thank you to each and every one of you. I know I owe most of you a visit. I don't know in which order I'm going to do the visits, and but I'm sure I'll do that. So any last comments? Maybe you can just give us where people can find you and a link to your work, just very briefly. Okay.
I can go first. So my parting shot,
Yes,
is my parting shot is personality is everything. People remember you, the photographer, not okay. It could be your work that you did, but they'll remember that I really had fun interacting with Dowdy. I had fun interacting with David. So personality is everything. Make sure you stick out. That's what the members of that party will remember you with. Our work is called Favier. Favier unaweza sema Favier. Inaandikwa kama School of Xavier, kama you used to watch X-Men Xavier. So that is Favier. Favier means favor in French. Because we trust we shall continue to be international. That's all the handles everywhere. And we are very excited. Most of the time, I'm usually looking for people to work with and groom for more. So if you ever need to be under mentorship, you can reach out to me, to us on info at Favier Productions. Utatupata kwenye mtandao. And yeah, asante.
Wonderful. But you've done a fantastic job. Although I thought you're on until 4:30. So anyway, I can see you've decided to keep it short and sweet. My parting shot is that I think for us, we just have to do the work, guys. I think put in the hours. I think I've been studying people who are successful, and none of them, whether you are in corporate or you're doing your own manenos, that comes easy. You have to put in the work. So I see photographers sometimes, ranting or complaining that they don't have work, yet they're not producing anything to do for personal project or pro bono. So if you're just lounging and just complaining of the status that there's no work or things are tough, it'll be tougher. But jitume, as Masharya would say, jitume, look at where you can be able to send yourself, if that's a proper whatever translation, but do the work, whether it is pro bono, whether it is learning. I personally challenge myself to learn at least 1 hour every day, 1 hour of doing leading videos or YouTube videos, so that I'm getting myself ready for the next opportunity. Thanks, bro. There's another whatever. Great. So saying I challenge myself to learn every day, whether it is YouTube videos. There's a guy Ken referred me to that has really changed how I do my biashara. It's called Chris Du. Chris Du has very interesting conversation on videos. You guys can check him on YouTube. He has, and even on Instagram, he has very dope conversation about the creative business and creative industry as large. You can find me on Instagram as fantastic. Yeah, I've learned a lot of business strategy, getting into a business and living with more biashara than they called me for. I think we just need to learn that. And I saw part of the things that Nani had posted is that we're becoming content creators, but more, I think we need to be a place where we provide solutions. And how do you, what you do, how can you partner with other people, collaborate with other people to offer someone a full solution? Okay. I think that is my parting shot. I'm on Instagram at Mr. Maneki, all awesomeportfolio.co.ke, all Behance/Mr. Maneki, all awesome media on Instagram. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you, David. Parting shot. Keep it to 1 minute.
Thank you so much. Patrick?
Yes, Lerito.
Hello.
Now we can.
You can hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can. You can hear me, Patrick?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can hear you, David.
Okay, asante. Nimeng'ang'ana sana to be here. The gadgetry sometimes doesn't cooperate, but thanks that I'm able to join the finishing comments about something that I'm very passionate about, the business of photography. And I want you to give me just 2 minutes before you go to the last comments by, I think, David, since Lucy Favier and Dowdy Maneki have given their comments. And perhaps what I'll be doing is to emphasize and use different words which can be perceived differently by the people who are following and who will be listening and watching this later on. So I have very quick 5 points to talk about. Number one is extra skills, and the speakers this afternoon have talked about, especially Favier talked about going back to school. Back to school can be YouTube, can be Coursera, can be Creative Live, can be Skillshare, it can be Centonomy. Wherever it is that you think a skill is going to make you better to run your business, to get more business, to charge more, to minimize your costs by outsourcing, then extra skills are going to be very important. This throws me to my second point, which is we are living in very difficult financial times, very difficult business times, very difficult social, family, economic. The government is broke, so everybody is broke. When I say everybody's broke, I know there are people buying new cars worth 20 million, but when I say we are broke, I know what you mean. I mean, we are straining. Many people are straining. So we must work extra hard. We must break a little more sweat to succeed in business, to thrive. And I think we all want to thrive not to survive. So we must remember that the times we are living in are unprecedented times. There are different times. This is not 3 years ago, is not 2 years ago, is not 4 years ago, is different. Number three, we have to be flexible enough. Dowdy had shared with me the story about going with a one-man show. The project we were doing for wildlife project I've been covering for the past 3 months, we were a two-man team. There was a videographer, I was a photographer, but I was also the videographer number 2. I was the one who was doing the interviews. I have to script, I have to plan a lot of things, all wrapped up in one. So it is important that photographers learn kuwa na skills different. That's number 3. Number 4 is about getting out of the creative space. Somebody has asked a question about networking, and the problem is that naonanga huko kwa Facebook mtu ana advertise services zake kwa fellow photographers, you advertise your videography services to fellow videographers. Hey, huwezi kuwa umemiss point hivyo, because our clientele is outside our space mostly. So it is important that people grow their networks outside photographers, videographers, designers, artists, because that's where the bigger bulk of our clientele is. So those who are seeking to network, please don't just network with your photographers or videographers or designers or artists. They are good to help you grow your skill and technique, but remember, most of your clientele lies outside your creative space. The other thing I want to ask people is, like David, I celebrated my 40th birthday this year. Most of the people who are watching us perhaps are younger, and we need to prepare. Please prepare for your life when you're 30, prepare when you're 35, prepare when you're 40, prepare when you're 45. Make it deliberate, let it be precise, let it be clear in your mind. Nataka kuwa wapi nikiwa 35? Where do I want to be when I'm 40? Where do I want to be when I'm 50? David talked about passive income. He talked about pursuing our passions. Right now, there are things sometimes we do, but we don't love, but we have to do because of money. But as you get older, utaki kufanya hizo vitu upendi because of money. You'll even feel out of place. So make sure you prepare with batches of like 3 to 5 years. Where do I want to be when I'm 30, when I'm 35, when I'm 40, when I'm 45, when I'm 50? What do I want to do? Who do I want around me? Where do I want my money to come from? Where do I want to live? What kind of work do I want to do? Where do I want money to come from, etc., and things like that. So I'm really glad that David, Dowdy Maneki, Lucy Favier, you've been able to break down a lot of these things. And I hope that even a good number of people who may not be able to watch this live will come back later and follow up with this. Pato, back to you.
So thank you so much, Steve Derito, for quick recap and a very well rounded up summary on that. And now, David, back to you. David, you're supposed to give us just a quick summary and where people can find you. Okay, just unmute your mic first, David. Unmute. Thank you.
Okay. I can talk for the rest 14 minutes.
No. You only have a minute. We know you.
Okay. Okay. Yes, I think you can follow us on Versatile Photographers. Okay, we have so many pages, but the main one is Versatile Photographers, Versatile School of Photography, Versatile Adventures, Versatile Art Gallery. Behind me, ini duka yangu. Nyuma yangu ni duka yangu. Then I sell those pictures. So we have different products, but I would suggest, please visit my website, www.davidmasharya.com. Go straight to the blogs. I have written so many crafts there, even how to violeza omoka na picha. Yeah, because opportunities are there. I only capture the opportunities that I can get, but I see opportunities which I share with my students, the people who follows me. The opportunities are there. So my parting shot is for you to be open to learn. Remember, hata unaweza kuwa na hii skill, lakini technology is changing every day. Be open to learn. The way the little have seen and Lucy, add some little skill of learning a business. Remember, there are two things, passion and business. Passion don't pay bills. I'm very passionate about wildlife photography. I'm so passionate about photography, manzi, like in that passion, till I think like a business person. As a creative, I have to think like a business person. And that's why I have to add skills as a business person. How do I run a business? Which value am I adding to this product so that someone can move his money from this pocket to your pocket? So you have to be very open to learn. Be uncomfortable. Manze vijana manze, be uncomfortable manze. If you believe in your craft, defend it. Wake up, push yourself. Sometimes no one is actually telling you, no one is pushing you. Even your girlfriend, your boyfriend, they will never push you. Mwenze niwe mwenye unajituma. So the decision that you make for your brand that you have started, it's actually going to impact of what you'll be getting. Some of the decisions I made back in 21 years ago, by the way, my photography experience is 21 years ago, by the way, yeah? Is some of the decisions
keep it short.
Yeah, is what I've actually made what I'm doing. So be uncomfortable, do the things that you don't like so that you can do the things that you love later. Thank you so much. Check our Instagram, our YouTube channel, Facebook, Versatile Photographers. And feel free to visit any of my studio. Come to Village Market, see the kind of wildlife, how I display my work here. Maybe you can be inspired one way or another. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Once again, thank you very, 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 very much to our panelists, David Masharya, Lucy Favier, and Dowdy Maneki for your invaluable time. Like no amount of money would have paid you to have gotten the nuggets, the knowledge and the nuggets that comes from you. So thank you very much for your time. And to our listeners and viewers, thank you very much. Just a quick one to David. David, someone is asking, you said Chris who? Dowdy, the social blogger.
It is Chris Do. I think I can put those things on the chat here. He has a very good YouTube channel, and he's also very active on Instagram. Speaks to us creatives in a very language we can understand. Chris Do, I've put it there on chat.
Okay, thank you. So the spelling for Chris Do is CHRIS space DO. Chris Do. Okay, so with that said and done, thank you very much, and see you for the next session, and have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Have a good evening.
Okay.
Kuna boss after this? Kuna after party?
Hey, good night.
Dowdy, I need to meet with you like ASAP. I'll actually give you a call. Like, Dowdy, I think I'll call you.
No, mimi niko hapa.
Haya, sawa. I'll give a call.
Patrick, you're not gonna call me?
Babe, we have got a pending project. I'll call you on that. Masharya, wewe kama unipeleki mara.
Niko Chalbi kesho Buda. That's why I came to Nairobi. Niko Chalbi kesho. Wacha nikapige sherehe.
Kama kwa Nairobi na kuja uniambia kwa nini sijaenda mara.
Buda, talk to me.
Haya, sawa. See you all.
Bye guys.
Bye bye.